What's up, everybody? You are now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hamilton, moment, music, and everything in between. That doesn't sound right. Was that right?
It
It's
it
music.
was right, but
I,
let's try it again. Let's
yeah,
try it again.
I think I flipped the words. Let's start over. What's up, everybody? You are now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hamilton, music, moments, and everything in between. That's better. I'm Sig Braxton.
And I'm Mike Jackson.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I think it's just the case of the Mondays. You know what I mean? Because earlier today for me, woke up. I'm like, yeah, I don't gotta work. I'm straight, whatever. I took a nap, and then I'm like, I didn't mean to take this long of a nap. I still got stuff I gotta do. Damn. So I'm getting back up to speed with it. How about you, man?
Yeah, I didn't have the day off, but it's my work from home day, so it's fine. But I've had like a slight headache all day. And I don't know if as you get older, do you ever notice that when you wake up from a nap, you get like in a fog? Like you wake up in a fog more often?
Yeah, that technically was happening to me earlier because I was just like, man, what time is it? I'm like, man, I still got like a couple things I gotta do. Obviously, we gotta record the podcast today. I'm like, geez, like I wish I had something that would like help me give a boost. And that's why this episode has been sponsored by Celsius. Go get you one.
Celsius. Mike's getting paid. Go get you one is a wild phrase for for a product. Just
I'm
go
pretty
get you one.
I don't even know what their actual slogan is. You know what I mean? Like I know they have one, but I've never actually cared to look it up. You know what I mean? So only reason I say go get you one, I don't know who came up with the shirt idea, but there's this one Asian dude I met like a couple years ago. He had a shirt that said "Go get you one," and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yo, I like your shirt. Yo, go get you one. Go get you one." And then like I didn't see him for like 2 years, and then we seen each other. I'm like, "Yo, go get you one." He's like, "Yeah, that's me. That's me." I'm like, "Oh shit!" So that's where I said the "Go get you one" thing from.
Being known as the go get you one guy is kind of crazy. Um,
But also, I want to apologize because me running late kind of had to do with me my own personal things.
mm,
Obviously, taking my nap, I had to do my trip to the store and all that, and got a little busy with some laundry too. Like seriously, I always do my laundry on my days off, Mondays and Tuesdays. So
well, I mean, perfect timing because today we are reviewing a choice of yours. I never heard this tape, and I'm excited to hear what we're gonna talk about with this tape. We're reviewing Chinese laundry. Can't stress enough, that's the title of the thing. Please do not come for me.
yes, sir. Chinese Laundry. This tape came out in December of 2012. I just remembered this that there were a couple things that came out around this time too. Um, so there was Chinese Laundry, there was Ugly Desdemona, and Dragonfly Destiny. All came out around the same time. I don't want to say it was like a three-pack type of thing, but like just within that time period, like when we were all like, "Oh, there's new Charles music," and say, "Hey, there's three of these tapes that came around the same time." So just put them together like that. Um, yeah, so this came out in December of 2012. I did look up the definition, I guess, or anything I could see about, the word Chinese laundry. And for those that don't know, there's always that stereotype of, anyone of, Chinese descent or oh, that's all they do. They have, the restaurants and they have laundry mats and all that type of stuff, whatever.
Mhm.
And I'm going to just say this, I don't think that's why Charles named it that. I'm not sure why he named it that. Um, I can't even tell you. But I don't think it's anything to do with anything like that or any like racial type of, thing. So, um, like you said, you've never heard of it. I have heard this in the past. I can be honest. I don't know how I felt about it back then. Not really memorable, but I will say this because we've had those situations where we've had a tape where it's like, oh, I remember this tape, and then I was like, I didn't like this as much as I thought I did. And then there's other tapes where I'm like, I remember this, but and then I liked it more than I thought I did. So it's up in the air for this one.
Yeah, I was doing a little look through of like some of the tapes that came out in 2012, and I can tell just based off my preference, it does seem like a very uneven year. Because there are some tapes where I'm like, oh, this came out in 2012, good stuff here. Then there's other things I see, I'm like, ugh, I know I didn't like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see where this kind of lands in that ethos. Do you remember how you actually stumbled upon it though? Like, was it just like was it a blog entry maybe, or like somebody mentioned to you? I know you were like I said, you stayed in the talk more than I did, as far as like knowing when music was coming out.
Yeah, so I actually had to go back to the old StarCHaser Central group, and that's one of the posts I found where someone said, "Hey, there's new Charles," and put those three tapes together because what they would do was, I think sometimes before these tapes actually went on YouTube, someone always made sure that there's like a link somewhere. Like we use Mediafire and stuff like that.
Hmm.
You know, all the stuff that's going on now, but it's like there's always some type of link. Hey, here's a new Charles, here's this. If it's not working, we'll do another one. We'll find
Hmm.
out another way to put it out there. And this was definitely, like you said, 2012 was a rough year because basically when I went to try and look up other comments too, basically almost anything that came out, kind of like what you said before on a previous episode, where you're like, you checked out a little bit at some points, and then certain songs or certain projects will come out, and it's like, hey, let me know how it is. That's basically what a lot of Star Chasers were saying
Hmm.
at this time. Whenever a project would come out, someone would be like, "Hey, someone check it out. Let me know what it is. Is it studio? Is it studio quality? Is it headphone quality? What is it?"
Yeah.
And then basically, if anyone said, "Oh, it's better to have phones,"
Yeah.
and then people would just skip projects. You know what I mean? So, and then some people that would hear it, they'd be like, "Oh, nope, don't like it, trash." So it was it's one of those type of situations. So it's hard to find how people really feel about it that really thoroughly enjoyed it or enjoyed that type of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we talk about this a lot on here, just that early on, once we got to a point where it's like, especially with the headphone music thing, it's like once you hear that, it's like for most people, once you've been burned a couple times with the same scenario, you're just like, I just don't feel like taking the chance on this. I don't want to uh risk downloading it, putting space on my computer, just to be disappointed, potentially by the music that we get, right? Um, do you think that was a bad thing? I try to look back at it now, like, because there are some tapes that I was like, I didn't like it back. I wasn't gonna like it back then, but now I'm like, I could see how I would like some of this. But do you think people are wrong or should have had more? What's the word I'm looking for? More leeway, more confidence, or take a risk at downloading those tapes just to take the chance on it.
Uh, I'm actually gonna, and I hate to do this because I hate when people play both sides, but I'm actually gonna play both sides on this one because
Hmm.
I don't think some of the fans were wrong. I think what some of the fans had to realize, because of course we all, especially back then, if you were a fan of '08, '09 music, all of a sudden you just start hearing all of this, you're literally just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why was Charles making this type of like quality music, and then it just flips, and
Hmm.
then he's not going back to this, he's not going back to that. You know what I mean? So for certain fans, it's like, no, you're not wrong because you got to a point where you expected something, and this is what you were getting, and now you're not. Like imagine if you went to the store, you had like a favorite brand of cereal, all of a sudden the cereal changes, and then you're just like, what's going on? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And then they tell you, hey, we're going a different route with this, and at that point that's on you where they kind of explain, hey, we're not doing, the mainstream cereal no more. We're
Hmm.
going with this type of cereal now. And it's like, all right, well, at that point, you gotta stop eating the cereal. You gotta find another brand that caters to your interests.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I can't fault fans for feeling that way. At the same time, uh we got to make sure that we make our own decisions to say, hey, all right, I don't like this. I'm not going to listen anymore. And maybe for Charles, hindsight's 2020. Maybe if there's a way to ease the fans into something like that, because going from like studio quality or studio-ish quality to MacBook headphone quality, very rough.
Mm.
I don't think there's a transition for that. There could be, but it's just like it's very, it's very inconsistent because of course one tape you might get this, one tape you might get this. And it's like where do I go from that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but we're here today and we're gonna go our best of three, best and worst of three. Um, would you like to start us today or would you like me to start?
Oh yeah, I'll start. That's fine.
Uh,
Real quick before we start, um, we always try to make sure we say something about it, but the art cover for
hmm
this Chinese laundry, you see somebody in a Sonic suit. It's like black and white, and I'm assuming they're in a laundromat. You know, um, it's very interesting for me just because Sonic, other than shoes, that's it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
why is Sonic in the laundromat? You know what I mean? Unless there's like some type of promotional thing, like, hey, if you come here, you might get a free demo of the new Sonic coming out or something. So I always
Mhm.
thought that was interesting. Like, why is Sonic in the laundromat? You know?
Also, the choice to go black and white. Like, is this an older picture and it's just like that's why it's made? Was it done like the authenticity of the photo is interesting because it does look like it seems to be it has to be some type of promotional tie-in of some sorts, right? Um, yeah, and it's clearly over. I would assume, I mean, you can't make the assumption, obviously, but uh the writing in the background does suggest that it's over in Asia somewhere. We know that Sonic is originated in Japan, so I wonder that would be kind of odd that this is called Chinese laundry and it's Japanese. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's that thing where it's kind of because the title, right? How we were talking about how that's the stereotype, and you know as much as it is like the stereotype is the Chinese people have the laundromats or the restaurants or whatever. But we also know those some same people tend to think all Asian people look alike, so they just probably threw somebody on there, right? So it's a lot of layering when it comes to the titling and stuff. But you know, again, I'm gonna choose to believe he has a reason for naming it this, and we're just gonna move on from that, right?
We will, because one thing we don't do, we want to try and make sure that we are correct with anything that we state. Of course, if we make our mistakes, we make our mistakes, but we're not going to blatantly say something wild like your boy Carlito. I don't know if you ever seen that promo that happened recently
Yeah, I
where he
did.
with was it Kyrie and
Io Sky.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, bro. Like yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was and the fact that they said like, yeah, he just did it off the cuff, I'm like, that's not great.
That's kind of why, they have stuff written down, write your promos down, write your stuff down. Sometimes freestyles aren't the best.
Yeah, not everybody's a freestyler, bro. Just hey, whatever we gave you that on that index card, just say that.
I'm ready. All right, so let's do
But
the
yeah, let's go.
first three. All right, or best three. All right, so there's 15 songs on here, y'all, but for my three that I enjoyed the most, first I'll start with The Wraparound.
Okay.
And now that I see this, I keep thinking about that one TikTok thing where the dude's like, "Oh, I wrap around when I wrap around when I wrap around. How you gonna wrap around?" And I'm like, all right. But anyway, um, Charles gives a shout out to Knife Wonder. So okay, Knife Wonder beat. We all know Charles does really great with Knife Wonder beats. I
hmm
can't think of one song where I'm like, man, he just shit the bed on this one. You know what I mean?
hmm
So Knife Wonder beat, obviously it's fire. Love the beat. The hook, true and catchy. He's talked about no one can change him, so we got to do the same thing. Verses are solid on here. It's one of those things where it's just everything just works well with the song,
Yeah.
and it wraps around. So 'cause I feel like right at the end, he gets me because not everyone does it, but when you kind of get everyone into the hook, well, verse, hook, verse, hook, verse, hook. When he finishes the third verse, it's like hook, nope, nope, no hook. He just
Yeah.
lets it fade out, or just lets the beat ride out. I'm like, damn, but I'm like, I still love it. So actually, this might be my favorite song from the tape. just
Okay.
listed now. So starting off with that.
My ID, but I do not believe I could be stopped. Why? Because my ID is my face. Now watch, I got diamonds for eyes, and it's about time I try to rise. How hilarious, right? Every time I walk vicariously to the mic, I gotta wonder if the ghost that's lifting me is even listening. So I hope you're listening from day one.
Second, I'll say Blue Romney.
Okay.
Blue Romney. I'm assuming that's a thing of Mitt Romney, even though that should be Red Romney because
Mm,
he's not Democrat, but different now because he anyway. Um, so basically this is like a remix flip to Diamonds in the Sky. So he samples Rihanna
hmm
once again. Can't really think of too many times I felt like Charles shit the bed with sampling Rihanna. There's been some misses, but Flip is crazy. I think this is one of the best songs on the tape.
Okay.
Uh, the flow and the bars really nice. The hook's cool. Over funny thing, Charles just messaged me saying call me. That's serious. He just messaged me saying call me, and I hope he doesn't call me while we're doing this. But Charles, by the time you see this episode, it'll be later on. But I will
Yeah.
call you after this. But yeah, Blue Romney just Charles just going in. I want to say, I want to say this is a freestyle, whatever, but it's just like I said, the way that he's flowing on here, just he has his purpose and he knows what he's doing. Everything just works well again. So it's just certain songs like these, this one and the last one. I'm just like everything. He's just taking everything off. You know what I mean?
You are not ready. Gothavelli, Charles Fonzarelli. I'm the guy who got inside your belly, took lots of jelly, and fed it to the future. And since it's odd, they tell me to not stop what I'm doing. Just get all these cats who rap or rock so jelly, meaning jealous. They ain't got nothing to tell us, we the fellas. Except, yo, keep doing, cause you better, whatever. Morgan.
My third, I'll say, let me make sure I get this correct. There it is. Okay, a gothic theme.
Okay.
Want to make sure I got that right. So the beat flip on there, crazy. Um, I feel like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, right? The hook of this song, it carries the song
hmm
very heavily. Not to say that the verses weren't good, but the hook very catchy. Sit back, relax, and let me take possession of you. This is one of those songs where like Charles, when he talks about being gothic and some of those dark themes,
hmm
and these are some of the songs that I like from that era. Like I don't want anyone to think that, oh, Mike's too positive. He just doesn't like when he talks about this and that. I'm like, no, like songs like this, if they're catchy, they're relatable, or whatever the case is, I feel them. I like them. Like I said, verses are good, but the hook really pulls you in. And maybe it's that whole possession thing he's talking about, but
hmm
really good. But those would be my three. How about you?
I did kind of want to go over some of the songs that you chose, or all the songs you chose. The wraparound is in my list as well. I'm kind of figuring out if I'm gonna just change one of mine. But I love that song. Really good record. Like I said, the verses are good. Um, Charles and Knife, man. Like that's is it the best him using another producer's stuff? I don't know. I'd like the Dilla stuff, but Knife is up there too, though. I would have to say.
That's a good question. We could also ask the other Star Chasers that, like, who do you like Charles Wood better? Like on Ninth production, on Dilla's production, or a third option, a third party?
All good options, man. Um, Blue Romney is okay. I think the titling has to be like a way of saying, "Oh, I'm the Democratic Romney," right? Or like some. I assume that's what we're going for when we're saying Blue Romney or whatever. It's an okay record. I don't mind this. I did want to bring up that all of these songs are long. They're like, except for one, everything is at least 4 minutes.
That is true. I know some of the songs I have picked, like they got like the beat at the end, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, it might be an extra like 30 seconds of beat, maybe 45 seconds of beat. Not as long as one of the songs I'm gonna bring up later, but that's for later.
Sure. Um, but yeah, Blue Romney's cool. I like that one. And then now I got to make sure I get it right because I don't want to mess it up either. what did we say? A gothic theme. I like that one as well. That one's, I understand what you mean by saying that the hook carries it. And sometimes that's all you really need. A hook can carry like maybe lesser than your standard bars or lesser than your standard, beat or whatever. If you got a catchy hook, you can stick around for the entire song more than you might have done with an opposite, like better, good lyrics, but like a bad hook, whatever, right? So I'm not mad at any of those. But yeah, I would say the wraparound out of your three is definitely my favorite. Um, my three. I will choose a different from the wraparound just to be for pod's sake. You know what I did like? I liked At Rap. At Rap is my favorite on this tape. I like soul like samples. And when they got the soul sample and somebody just start rapping and it's just them rapping, really no hook or anything like that. As long as the raps are fire, I'm usually on board. And Charles does a really good job. And it's like a 5 minute song. I think he cuts it or he stops rapping around like 4:30 or something like that, and then lets the beat ride off, and it actually transitions to the next song. But the way he rapping on this is really good. Like I said, I like the beat. The beat's real smooth or whatever. So yeah, and it's the title is what it is. It's At Rap. It's rap, and that's it. I'm not making a song. It's rap, and it's really good.
I'm iller than you. You catching feelings, my dude. I was simply chilling with the flu. Niggas wanna be villains, then a nigga cruise with a big enough pistol to hit you in your issue and your moves. Therefore, you ain't got no reason to not chill. So when your season ends, I've gotten iller. Like a shot from Miller, Reggie. But some more told me I'm not familiar. Socks on and I hit the bitch.
Um, the other one I liked was Theme of Charles Hamilton, which I think the side name is, does it say Get Used to It? Yes. Get Used to It. Now, I will say it starts off slow and it doesn't get right to the point. And so that's kind of a knock against it. But if you try to tie it into the whole thing, sometimes theme songs take a while to get going. Like it's just a little bit of instrumental and then the song lyrics kick in. So when the song actually kicks in, I do enjoy it. It's something that I was like, okay, let me listen to this again. Definitely one of the ones I went back to listen to before we did this pod episode, and I liked it more than two. So I would choose that one. And if I'm not choosing the wraparound, I'm gonna go with my gut and what I said I was gonna choose. I'm gonna go with TSA Flirts. TSA Flirts is a decent song. I like that one. I kind of wish it sounded better, and that's kind of a theme throughout this entire thing. But I wish it sounded better because it kind of feels muddled. But if you have the headphones, you can actually get a better sense of the song and like hear the lyrics and stuff like that. So when it's in headphones, it's a good song. Overall, when you listen to it like outside of speakers, everything just sounds like on top of each other. So that kind of knocks it. But as a song, when you have the headphones, it's good. Those are my three.
Okay, respect. At rap, it's funny because when we do the best three, worst three, or whatever, um, we always have that situation where it's like, oh, I might pick one of yours, you might pick one of mine.
Yeah.
I was thinking about actually picking at rap, but I was like, I don't think I'm going to. He might
Yeah.
pick it, he might not, but I did want to speak on that one real quick. Um, like you said, he's just rapping, you know what I mean? Just
Hmm.
freestyling basically, for a long time. And sometimes that can be hit or miss, but for this is great.
Yeah.
Only knock I can really give him is he was coughing at that one point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was coughing, but other than that, he was probably smoking. You know how that is. Like he
Hmm.
probably was smoking before, then he just coughing, but he just keeps it going. And that's the thing. When this is a freestyle, like I said, you can tell this is a freestyle because there's no, like I said, there's no hook, no whatever, just him just rapping.
Yeah.
If it's just a freestyle and something like that happens, I can excuse it more because it's just like, all right, well, it's a freestyle. Like it's meant to be a one take thing. You feel me?
Hmm.
When you're structuring something more of a song, that's when it's just like, I don't want to hear you coughing or whatever on that.
Yeah.
Redo it, you know? Um, And speaking of that, another theme, I guess he got sick in the middle of doing this project because like with the coughing and all that type of stuff, you don't
Hmm.
hear it really in the beginning. You're middle to the end. So it's
Hmm.
like it sounds kind of crazy because like if you listen through, it's like, was he getting sick throughout the project? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know
Hmm.
how he recorded these songs, like they recorded like in the exact order or what,
Hmm.
but it's a little interesting for that. But um I do want to talk you know what? Oh, he does mention it on theme of CH about Steve sneezing and coughing too. Kind of like
Hmm.
talks about that. But I know I started off with the best. I guess I'll go with the ones that missed the mark for me.
Sure.
So um so the two you picked are on my missed the mark.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'll start with TSA Flirts. I like the song. Here's why it missed the mark for me, right? When I listen to it, I'm like, does the beat sound a little trippy? Like it's slowing down a little bit.
Hmm.
And when I listened to this, I was sober. I wasn't like, oh, I was drinking. It's gonna mess with my, and that's another reason why like I like to listen to these sober because I know Charles will be like, oh, well, if you listen to it while you're this and that, then it makes the music better. If anything, I feel like that's going to make it worse. So let me
Yeah.
listen to it sober first. Then, if I'm going to do that, let me listen to it after. So then I could, compare and contrast.
Hmm.
But then I'm like, maybe it's just Charles's flow on it. Because sometimes I'm listening to it, and I'm like, he's not necessarily off beat. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But I like the beat though. Um, the song starts off well, and then we talk about Charles getting sick. He starts sneezing halfway through the second verse or whatever.
Hmm.
Then he keeps going, and then it's just like at that point, like bro, this is supposed to be a structured song. You have a hook on it. You have three verses. You're sneezing halfway through it, like two, three times, and I remember he said something about the sky is falling. Sneezes halfway through the verse, picks up on the third verse. Oh yeah, by the way, the sky is falling. No, 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 bro. Like that's bro. That this is one of the reasons why like when he does like the brain writtens and all that type of stuff, or in a situation like this, I'm like, nah, this is a freestyle. And
Hmm.
if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm like, bro, you try to spend half your time talking about how the sky was falling. It got fucked up because you were sneezing halfway through the verse.
Hmm.
Now you're going to spend the third verse talking about what you're trying to do on the second verse. Re-record it in the nicest way I'm gonna say possible. Re-record it, bro.
Yep.
Hey, I was going to talk about sky falling on the second verse, but I was sneezing it. So now I'm going to talk about it on the third. You know how much time was wasted with you doing that? So now I don't get like a full song. I feel like the song could have been so much better if you just, like I said, you just re-recorded it. But if you're if it's a freestyle, how can you re-record it? You got to do different bars and all that. So that's why I'm like, there's no way this song is a brain written. Because otherwise, if it is, you already got it in your head. Just re-record it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if that didn't happen, the sneezing and all that, that possibly could have been one of my favorite songs, or just it might have just missed being one of my favorites. But because of that, it missed it for me. By the way, he said there's like the bless you bar, like saying bless you as a compliment. Like I get what he was trying to do because he was sneezing in the second verse, and he's trying to make up for it. No, no, I'm nah, bro. Like so, all right, so that's how I felt about that one. The theme of CH. That's another
Hmm.
one you like. So in the beginning, Charles explains why he was sneezing and coughing and whatnot. He
Hmm.
said possibly had the flu. So understand, trying to record music while you're sick, especially have the flu,
Hmm.
uh, definitely a difficult task to do. You know what I mean? But that's one of those things where that's the reason. It's not an excuse. And also, um, he gave further analysis saying, "Oh yeah, but to have the flu means you fly." And once again, what are you doing, bro? No, just go ahead,
I,
go ahead.
I
No, no, no.
I think that's sometimes a struggle with like when you're trying to listen to Charles music, right? When you and I are like, all right, dude, you just sneezing and coughing. But I feel like you could have either A, just taken a day off. You could have took the day off, or, just go back and re-record it or whatever, right? But instead of doing that, then it becomes a let me explain it away. And then sometimes the explanation isn't the best, so you just left looking like, or you just coughed and sneezed, bro, and you have the flu. Just go take some medicine and call it a day.
Exactly that. My thing is this: if he would have said, "Yeah, the reason for the coughing and sneezing, what I mean, because sick, had the flu," if he would have just left it at that, I'm like, okay, I got you. I still would have been like, "Hey, man, maybe you should have like took the day off." You know what I mean? Record at another time because
Yeah.
you can't record every day. You can't keep making stuff every day. Sometimes you need a break. We all need breaks. You know what I mean? I know
Hmm.
being a artist isn't like the typical 9 to 5, but you got to rest the vocals and all that type of stuff too.
Hmm.
Understandable you know? But yeah, like doing that, I'm like, okay. So I'm already going in like, all right, so really. Then with the beat, didn't like the beat.
Okay.
Uh I feel like it was too chopped for me. I seen what he was doing with it. And there's times where I feel like sometimes when people chop beats, it might just be a little too extra. Like I felt like the beat, I know it's not skipping, but that's what it sounds like. The beat's just skipping and it's
Hmm.
skipping on beat, but y'all is trying to rap to it. And I'm like, nah, nah. That's one of my things where there's that one saying about people they don't think about certain things that should be done. It's like, it's like just nah, I'm not for me. So
Yeah.
third song, actually the first song from the project, 3 minute intro. First of all, this is 7 minutes.
Uh-huh.
4 extra minutes, 4 extra minutes. We talked about how sometimes when Charles has very, very long songs like that, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Hmm.
Um, Personally, I just don't like it. You can barely hear the vocals. Beat doesn't really do anything for me. Song's too long. Um, and it's hard to critique because like even with me having headphones in, I'm just like, it's a struggle. It's a struggle for me to listen to the song. I'm just like, no. I could personally say anytime if I go back to listen to this project, I'm skipping this
Sure.
automatically. Automatic skip. I just no. Automatic no. But those are my three. What are yours?
Let's just pick up where you left off. 3-minute intro. Uh, Again, when you're going into something blind and you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm to expect from this tape. That first song really is like your step, you opening the door, right? And you're peeking in. You ever go to a party back in the day, just like maybe a house party, like any type of like whatever party, fraternity, whatever, wherever house, right? You open that door and you peek in, and you're like, let's see what this party is looking like. And sometimes you peek in and you're like, okay, the ladies are out, everybody's kind of looking cool, everything, the music is good, and you're like, I'm gonna step into this party. And then sometimes you open that door and you're like, oh, it's dead in here, and it's not somewhere that I think I want to be. This one felt like the latter because, again, and correct me if I'm wrong, like this is called 3-minute intro, and but it's 7 minutes long. But didn't it take a while for the song to actually start?
It took a bit. Definitely
Ye-
took a bit.
Yeah. So it's like you already are, you already lied. Let's get that out the way. You already lied. It's not a 3-minute intro, so that's a lie. 7 minutes. And then you take a while to get it going, and then like the resulting song doesn't hit like it maybe was intended.
By the way,
Um,
by the way, it didn't bother me at first, but more when I listened to it, the ring, ring, ring. Yeah, and see, so at first when I listened to it, I'm like, I think I can deal with it. I cannot. I can't deal with that.
yeah, that beat's just not, it's not there, man. Especially when, again, especially since when the song doesn't right away start and it's just that to start off the song, you're like, okay, am I getting punked? Like, what's going on? What's happening right now? What a reference, right? But yeah, that one's not a great way to start the tape. Um, I'm trying to figure out which one I'm gonna say. Oh, Church Girls franchise music? No, don't need that. That's coming right off of At Rap, and yeah, that transition. I was like, okay, it's gonna transition to another song, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I'm listening, and I'm like, nah, it's just not. The hook's not giving it to me. The verses, none of it is really connecting with me. Um, yeah, it's another one that situation where like that muddled thing where it feels like everything's just layered on top of each other and not really doing anybody justice. The beat, the hook, the nothing's doing anything justice there. Um, Now I'm trying to flip flop between two different ones, and I'll leave one of them to task for right now before we get to the other one. Uh, I mean, Atlas Behavior. I really wasn't a fan of that one either. Um, and maybe it's just come because it came right after 3 minute intro, and I'm like, okay. Usually, if Charles does something where like the first song doesn't hit, sometimes that second song can kind of make up for that. And like now, if I'm doing that, that's about 12 minutes of music where I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna be for me. Like this tape might not do it for me, right? Um, yeah. I mean, overall, I'm just gonna say now the sound quality makes a lot of this difficult to listen to. So it's like you're searching through trying to find like the songs you like, but it's like everything always has to do with that sound quality and that, like you said, that MacBook sound, and it's always tough to get through or whatever. So I did want to ask you about Figure It Out.
Okay. Well, can I say talk about Church Girls and
Please,
Atlas
please
first?
do. Please do.
Thank you. Church Girls, funny thing is, it wasn't going to be in my top three, but I thought it was actually okay. Like I did like the hook. The verses were decent. It's one of those things where I'm like, this song could have been better. I like the beat. And I'm like, man, like maybe if he like, switched some things around, tidied it up, you know what I mean? I'm like, it could have been higher, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and then Atlas Behavior. I did like the beat for that one. Verses were decent. I did like the at my point of view. I did like that, but it's like some of that static that's in the hook that you don't really hear in the verses. And
Hmm.
sometimes that has to deal with, the MacBook rapping because you don't have an actual microphone. Depending on where you're recording your music at, if you're in an open space, there's going to be stuff that gets picked up more than others.
Yeah.
Um, I was okay with those songs. Obviously they weren't going to be my top three, but they were like some songs I'm like, oh, I'm okay with them.
Hmm.
But go ahead, your question.
I don't know where I sit with Figure It Out. I like to look at the views on each song and try to figure out, is this the most popular song on the tape? What's the deal here? So when I was looking at the views, I noticed that At Rap was a high one. A lot of the other ones have like, 700, which are decent, but the most listened to track was Figure It Out. They use, again, showing our age again. Remember the game show Figure It Out? The Millennial Kids. Great show. I think a lot of those kids were lying. I think a lot of those kids were lying. But and also features Summer Sanders. I think she was a former, like, was she Olympian or something?
It's something with sports.
Yeah, she has something to do with sports. That's what the video is being used. That's the official video, I guess we could say, for this song. I just can't figure out if I like the song or not. I cannot figure it out. That's funny. Um, but like the hook is cool, and the beat is good, but I just don't know if it all meshes together for me to see why it was maybe the most viewed song. I guess so. What is your thoughts on this song?
So I can tell you why it's the most viewed video because, like you said, it was. I don't know if I want to say it was like the lead single from the
Hmm.
project, but it definitely had a music video for it. By the
Got it.
way, let me make sure I say this now so I don't forget. For you guys that don't know, there is like a movie for this project where it's just a whole long video of the tape, one, just not broken up in songs in the playlist. It's
Hmm.
just Shenmue. It's like the game Shenmue, but then the music in the background of Chinese Laundry. So feel free to check that out if you prefer to listen to, projects like that, where it's just one long. I know some people that do where it's like, hey, I don't want to skip through. I just want to listen to this while I watch something. So
Sure. Yeah.
feel free to check that out. But for Figure It Out, definitely, I remember when it came out. Obviously, there's that music video where it's just an episode of Figure It Out, and then Charles's music in the background. So of course, you post that. It's like, hey, this is the quote unquote music video. So number one, that's just why it has so many views compared to anything else. For me personal thing Charles said right in the beginning. I don't like doing more than one take. Like I generally don't like doing more than one take, you know, and it's
Hmm.
just like, yeah, we understand. And I think it shows in some of these projects around this time, you
Yeah.
know. I do like the hook on here, like you said. Um, it's one of the things for me, I think for me, after listening to it a couple times, I overall I'm about the song because I
Hmm.
like the hook, but it's the way Charles flows on it. He sounds sad, sounds depressed, and I think that's the vibe for it. That's not the problem. It just sounds like he doesn't even want to rap. Like he made the song and he didn't know how else to, express his feelings but to, rap it out. And it's just
Hmm.
like sometimes I've realized I'm like, hey, sometimes not everything needs to be a song. You know what I mean? So that's how I kind of feel about it. It's just one of them type of situations. We know Charles always makes everything a song, and it's like this might not have been one of those things, Similar to, when they start crashing out on social media and then they take a video about it and all that. It's like we don't need to always post everything. It's like one of those
Right.
type of situations. So for me, I'm like very on the song. Like I like the beat and I like the hook, but it's just like you didn't maybe this shouldn't have been a song.
Yeah. You bring up the movie that is associated with it. Basically, like you said, is Shenmue. A couple questions for you before we rate this tape. Did you ever play Shenmue?
I actually had never played it. My oldest brother, he had a Dreamcast and
Hmm.
we had a couple games for it, but he was never one of those type of people. He normally played like the like Rated Rumble. He would play some of the sports games and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, but I never actually had a Dreamcast of my own. And obviously they made other Shenmue games on other systems. And by that time I was just like, just not interested in playing it. But I've watched people talk about it and the game always seemed cool. I just never actually played it. What about you?
Yeah. So originally, my we had a Dreamcast in the house or whatever, but my dad was the one who played it. I that was one of my favorite things to do, just like watch my dad play games, especially if it's like a story game, because I can just follow along. I don't have to stress myself in actually being good at the game. Um, so I was watching the game, and there's this point where you have to scrounge up enough money to get a ticket to go to where you need to go, because that's where the dude you look for is there, right? And now in most games before this, they'd be like, okay, you do a quick time event or you do like a little mini game, you get the money, or it's something like that to that extent where like you're not having to do it. Shenmue did the total opposite, and they were like, hey, yo, you want this money? You better work for the next 3 to 7 days as a forklift driver. And but like legitimately, like your literally work is like, all right, cool. You come in for your shift, you actually work and like put the stuff. I'm like, yo, dog. I was looking at my dad like, yo, dog. I thought we play games to avoid like life. Like, what is this? So I always thought before, because he never finished the game, because he was like, yo, this is ridiculous. But I always thought you had to. I always thought you had to like keep working until you made the money. And dog, it wasn't like a cheap ticket. It was a huge ticket, bro. Um, so fast forward when I tear my Achilles, I get Shenmue 1 and 2 for the remaster or whatever, or remake on PlayStation 4. Yeah, at the time, PlayStation 4. And, you know, with the Achilles thing, I used to wake up at like I would go to bed like 10, but then I'd be up at like 3 a.m. Like, bro, it's bothering me. So I would just get up and go play the game for like the next 3 hours. And that was the game I played. And so then I finally get to the part where it's like the forklift thing. I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. And then I realized you only have to do it like 3 or 4 days. And it's like, all right, cool. All right. Then they're like, all right, here you go. Here's the ticket. And I'm like, I wanted to call my dad, like, yo, dog, you could have just kept playing and you would have been good, bro. It's like the funniest shit ever, bro. Anyway, I like Shenmue 1 and 2. I will say to the second part, I personally, this tape should not have been the background for. Again, this is also another one of those things where it's like it's called Chinese laundry, and I'm 1000% sure that Shinmu is Japanese. So not the greatest thing, right? Um, but I also don't think that this tape should be used for Shinmu. I think Shinmu this should have been used for a different tape. My question to you is, if you could use a video game for a Charles tape, which two would you combine together? Similar to how they did this one in Chinese Laundry.
Right. Do I have to pick a particular tape or no, just Charles in whatever video game?
Hmm. Try to pick a particular tape. If you can't, that's fine.
Okay, I got you. Um, I'm gonna just be cheap and I'm gonna bring up just because it's only really one song where it will match up. But I'm like, hey, that's it. That could be that could be the leading song soundtrack.
Sure.
Um, I'm mad because I know the name of the song or the I know the project because we reviewed it recently.
Hmm.
We'll have to look it up. What's the one? I'm drawing a blank. This is what I'm gonna just say right now. The game's gonna be Streets of Rage. Let's just say Streets of Rage 2. And
Okay.
then the project, I want to say it was like 2014. Um, I know the song, I know that one of the songs is like the uncoolest. I gotta look it up.
Oh, is that Vampire Sunlight?
No, it's not that one, but it came out around that time.
Uncoolest. I remember that now, but now I'm trying to remember what tape that is.
Don't worry, I'm gonna find it right here. The boy who played with Barbie.
There we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though, like I said, that whole tape is like there's just that one song where I'm like, oh, yep, it works. Works for me. So,
Right.
yep, there we go.
Streets of Rage is like your shit too. That's like your favorite.
Yeah, that's literally like my if some when people say, "Oh, your favorite video game of all time" or whatever the case is, like if we're talking
Hmm.
about old school stuff, I'd have to say that because like that's something me and my brother would play. You know what I mean? And like even to this day now, like I still have the fourth one that came out a couple years ago, whatever. So like
Yeah,
that's my like all time. You know what I mean? So
that's a good one though. I personally, I think I'm thinking like you did, right? And I would be like, this is one song on this tape that probably works, and I'm just gonna do it because that's just how it's gonna work. I would do 10 things I hate about me, and it'd be a Mario game, just so I can sync up with I'm always up to something.
yeah, sounds like something like Mario Party. You know, because
Yeah,
that's a lot of scheming and planning type of.
yeah. Oh, that would be hilarious. Because I didn't mean to do that would be hilarious. Because for me, I absolutely meant to do that. I got these 50 coins. I meant to steal your star purposely.
Real quick, you just reminded me because I seen some video recently of a guy and a girl playing the game, and I didn't know. Well, not that I didn't know, I forgot, but I'm like, why would I do this? His girl was winning, so he wanted to go steal a star, and they give you the option of like, who do you want to steal a star from? This person, or random. And then he obviously stole from her because she was going to win, so he stole from her, so he will win. She said, "You didn't pick random. You have to pick random. Why the
No, you
fuck would I
don't.
pick random?
That's
I'm
silly.
trying to win.
Yeah.
What?" And then she was mad the rest of the video. She's like, "You were supposed to pick random. Who?
I
Yo, get good.
listen.
Get
St
good at the game. Get
yeah.
good."
Yeah. I mean, in fact, you were doing well at the game. You just didn't anticipate that you would get betrayed. And it's not really betrayal, it's just survival. So like it's just survival. I don't understand. The task of the game is to win. So to win, I must betray you. And that's okay. I'll still love you. Yeah. But let us know if what tape you would combine with with the Charles Hand with a video game, and let us know what y'all would do. But Mike, we did just listen to Chinese Laundry Man. And I would like to know what you're going to rate it. So give us your review, your pros and cons, and what character rating you are going to give it.
I'm gonna be honest. It's been a while since we done a tape like this. This was a rough listen when I first listened to it. I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But
Mm,
that's why we do multiple listens because there's sometimes I'm like, I might have been missing something. Let me
hmm
try it this way. Let me try it that way. Let me try it with the earbuds, the headphones. Let me
Yeah.
try it in the car, whatever. Obviously I found some stuff that I like because there's some rapping on here. You know what I
hmm
mean? Charles does the rapping. There's some beats. Sometimes it's Charles beats. Sometimes it might be Knife Wonder or somebody else. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's cool. I think the problem is with this tape it's inconsistency, especially around this time, 2012, there was a lot of inconsistencies where, hey, it's like there's one thing I really like about this, but then there's something else that just takes
Yeah.
away from it. Oh, the rapping on here was nice. Oh, he was coughing. You know what I mean? He was
hmm
sneezing all through the verse. Oh, the beat on here was fire. The sound quality is not that great. You know what I mean? I can't really hear the vocal. I can't really hear this. I can't really hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, the hook was fire. Hate the beat. You know what I mean? So it's always like a give and take.
hmm
So it's one of those things where I'm like, and also I just mentioned earlier about, the coffin and all that type of stuff. Charles mentioning, oh, I hate not doing stuff in one take. And it's one of those things where like that becomes like a crutch and it really like dampers like tapes like these. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Somebody mentioned that one episode we had for the anniversary, like, was there a time where you should have taken a break from Charles's music or you felt like you were, being tested as a
Hmm.
fan? This, like I said, I didn't really remember when I first listened to this tape, but hearing this now, this is like I said, when I should have been taking a break, where I'm like, you know what, I should have did what everyone else did. Like, I'll come back at a later time.
Hmm.
To put this in the most respectful way, I hate bringing this guy up, but you remember with Vince McMahon, right? When the Attitude Era began, and he said, "We in the WWF think that you, the audience, are quite frankly tired of having your intelligence insulted." Basically, that's how I felt listening back to this again. Like Charles, like, oh, I'm gonna cough throughout this. I'm gonna sneeze, on here. I'm not gonna redo verses. I'm not gonna redo. It's like if you proclaim that you love music and you care about music, then why is this coming out like this? And then
Hmm.
you're presenting it to Star Chasers, people that you care about as your fans, to listen to this. I would think if you love music so much, you would do a better job at, making it sound as best as possible. Regardless if you're going to rap through a MacBook or not, it's like you were definitely not leading with the right foot, the right step, and you're just, basically it sounds like you're just putting out whatever.
Yeah.
So end of the day for me, I really can't see myself coming back to this tape. I'm giving it a Robotnik. Unfortunately, tape's not for me. There are a couple songs that I do really like. The songs I do like, I can definitely see myself going back to those songs. But for the rest of this tape, too many inconsistencies, too many excuses for me. Like if you had to re-record something, re-record it. Do it's just lazy to me personally. It's like if you don't want to do that, you don't want to re-record, okay, that's fine. But that's not going to make the song any better. That's not going to make
Hmm.
the project any better. So that that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, this was a rough listen. I think my first listen, I was just so overwhelmed by the sound quality, that, you know, I think I listened to it in halves. Like I started one night, got through like seven. I was like, okay, I need to take a break because I just it this is so difficult to digest. I'm like you. There is stuff here where I'm like, okay, I can listen to this. Like, when I heard the rapper, I'm like, okay, that's good. And at rap, I'm like, good. These two, I'll probably keep these. And I don't think I'll return them like often, but like if I hit shuffle and it comes on, cool, that's fine. It's combing through these other things is just difficult, man. Like you said, it's inconsistent. It's like you're looking for the positive in songs, and it's immediately undercut by something that you can't get past, right? So as much as you want to try to give these type of tapes like a fair shake, or like a on not an honest review, but like the good old college try, as they like to say, right? It's difficult because like you know what a you know what a quality sounding tape sounds like, right? Like that he can do that, but then like why would you ever subject yourself to this, or have to listen to it a specific way when you can just go find a tape that just does what you're looking for and is to your liking, right? So 15 songs, all these songs are long. Like they really should be cut. It's like 3 to 4 minutes. 4 minutes should be the max. It shouldn't be like the minimum. Um, I just don't think 2 out of 15 is really gonna get it done. I think this is one of those tapes where it's a niche thing for somebody. Somebody's like, yo, this is one of my favorite tapes. I like what he did here. Um, but for me personally, I don't think it's something I'm gonna tell a Star Chase like, yo, immediately this goes to the front of the line. Get to it when you can. Obviously, listen to it on your own accord. Find the stuff that you like we did. But yeah, I gotta go Robotnik as well. This isn't a tape that I would go back and listen to in full. So,
Understandable. And also, I want to make sure I make this clear. It's not about, oh, it's a MacBook recording because
mhm.
I'm pretty sure, like, what was it? I always die in Brooklyn, like stuff like that, or the Ninth Wonder tape that we did,
Yeah.
um, Happy Ninth Birthday, that
Yep.
was MacBook quality.
Hmm.
So it's not about it being MacBook quality. It's like I can deal with MacBook quality, but when you have other inconsistencies and other things, that's when it's like, all right, I can excuse, one or two things. But after that, at a certain point, it's like, all right, I can't. Like you said, me listening to it, I had to come back and I'm like, man, just wasn't the greatest listen. Wasn't I didn't really have the greatest time, reviewing this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. But let us know what you guys thought. How do you feel about Chinese laundry? How you feel about what's your take on the sound quality situation? Is it something that kind of hinders how you look at a tape, or is it something that, you know, you just become accustomed to? Let us know over on YouTube, StarCHaser Central. You can also follow us on Twitter, StarCH Central. You can also follow us on our individual pages. I'm at Stick Around 54, STIK around 54 on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
on Instagram, the Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson on Twitter. By the way, just fuck Twitter, fuck X, because I don't understand why like this app, like fix the app, man. Like I'm probably about to delete it and then re-download it
Mm,
because just every now and again I get on there, I try to message you and it's just like, oh yeah, not available. Stupid. Shit stupid.
yeah.
Or it doesn't just refresh. I've never seen this shit happen. Twitter's trash. But anyway,
Yeah.
Twitter, Mike D Jackson, Mike D Jackson, one D, two E's. Holla at me. Make sure you guys are following Charles on Twitter at Charles Hamilton. Also make sure what's the next thing? Oh, the YouTube. Sorry. The YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed to him on YouTube at the talented Mr. Hamilton. Um, he has his new music that comes out, sporadically from time to time. Has, his series that he's doing. By this time you might hear some new music, a different series. You never know. So that's why you need to subscribe to it. And then make sure you guys are always keeping in touch with him on the blog. Make sure you're reading the blog and you're checking it out. Enter the Hamilton.blogspot.com. He's been very a lot more update it whatever. He's been updating it a lot. I was about to make up a new word because that's what we're doing over here now. I'm just freestyling off the dome and it's not working. Some days I'm trash at it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, make sure you check out all that. There it is.
Yeah, make sure you let us know what you want us to listen to, any specials, anything like that. Yeah, I think, you know, we're trying to bounce around to different tapes now, trying to get to more not obscure, but like maybe tapes that people haven't listened to in a long time or haven't heard of quite as often. So we like those tapes and we want to continue to listen to those. Mike, anything for the people before we head out?
Just the usual. Thank you guys for checking out another episode. We appreciate all the comments, all the likes, all the anything. You know what I mean? So thank you guys so much, and we appreciate you rocking with us. So that's all I gotta say.
Absolutely, man. We are signing out of the Star Chaser Central. We always encourage you to follow your dreams.
And reach for the stars.
World is changing, so I got to